Can you guys hear me here in Zoom?
Yep, we can hear you.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا واعف عنا وتقبل صيامنا وقيامنا وصلواتنا يا أرحم الراحمين. Yesterday and last Saturday, we did two sessions on Surah Al-Kahf. Two sessions on Surah Al-Kahf, basically, and we reached the story of Ashab Al-Kahf, the youngsters of the cave, the people of the cave, the youth of the cave. And we said, did you people remember? Basically, let's see if people remember. Where are these people from? Which city are they from? We mentioned which city, where are they from? Anybody remembers?
City in Syria, something Shia.
You remember the name?
Tribris.
Okay, not Aleppo. It's Tartus, basically.
Tartus.
Yeah, Tartus is it's a very known area. Which era was under, basically? How long was this? Was this a long time ago before Islam, or like thousands of years? Or when was it?
Pretty close to when Islam came down, right?
But how close? 10 years, 100 years, 300 years, 5,000 years? Close is relative. Anybody remembers? Lots of people in the chat. 20 years, no. So this was under the emperor of in Arabic we call him Diqyanus, or Decius, I guess in English, if I'm not mistaken. He lived between 200 and 250 CE. So, 200, 300 years before Islam, or 300 years before the birth of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, 350 years before Islam, plus or minus. So, these people were in the Middle East. They were 7 young people living under the Roman Empire. They were real Christians, meaning basically they believed in only one God, and they didn't believe in Jesus being the Son of God. They believed in Jesus being a messenger, just like we believe that Muhammad is a messenger. And the Roman Empire put pressure upon them to choose either to be monotheistic people or to worship the idols and to slaughter and give gifts to the idols. And what happened, basically, those 7 youngsters, they defied the mayor or the governor of the city. And the governor, due to their age and due to their being youth, due to basically not to create a public opinion issue for himself and his position, is like, look, I'm going to give you 24 hours. Either you leave you come and basically join us in our festivals and give gifts to the idols and to the gods that we believe in. I mean, the Roman Empire was a multi-god society, polytheistic society. Otherwise, you get killed. So definitely, they defied that too. And during the night, they escaped. And the 7 of them, and they also took a dog with them from one of the elderly or whatever. So this is the story, basically. This is the details of is both in the some of the Christian New Testaments and or theological books, and also basically he's here in the Quran. Now, because it's recent, people didn't know. Like, people really questioned the number of years. What happened is basically they found a cave, and they hid in that cave. And the mayor or the governor of the city sent his soldiers to fetch for them. And the story says that basically once they found the cave, they decided to just basically block the cave and let them die if they don't want to come out, basically. Maybe they don't want to jeopardize any of the soldiers' lives, I guess, going inside the cave. And so they blocked the cave, whether with rocks or wood, whatever it is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his great mercy, made them sleep for 300 years. 309 years. lunar years. And if I'm not mistaken, basically the equivalent of 309 years, if people want to do the calculation right now, is around 300 years or 300 years exact in the Gregorian calendar, in the solar calendar. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made these people sleep for 300 years and then woke them up afterwards. So we're speaking about, early 500, between 500 and 550. So just 20 years before Rasulullah, that's when these people woke up and they went back to downtown, to the main markets of the city, trying to purchase some food because they were pretty hungry. Now they had the coins and the silver coins from 300 years ago. So they were trying not to basically make any noise because they knew they're going to be watched, right? They're like fugitives, really, from one perspective, enemies of the state. And when they basically wanted to purchase something and they gave those very old coins, people looked at the coins like, "What the heck is this? Where'd you get this from?" They're like, "What do you mean, where you get this from? It's just money." It says, "No, this is not money. This is very old money. Who the heck are you?" So that's when they kind of got to know about them, and the whole city went to the cave to meet them, and they're all looking very old, or at least basically, at least that's how one story says it, which kind of might not make sense because they would have noticed each other being old anyway. And yeah, so when they saw them, they had a quick conversation, then they died after. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, definitely it would be hard to live in a different era. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after showing the people the sign, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved these youngsters who held very solidly to their beliefs. They did not compromise. They were told they needed to leave their beliefs to fit in society, and they're like, "Nope. We'd rather basically go in just live in a cave or whatever it is, rather than leaving our beliefs." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed His mercy upon them. So this is the first story in Surah Kahf. Surah Kahf has three main stories, as we said yesterday. Let's read some of the verses, inshallah, and again go in the comments or the commentaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes upon the story. Bismillah. فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying basically we've made them sleep. وَضَرَبْنَا عَلَى آذَانِهِمْ, basically as if they can't hear anything and they fell asleep within the cave for years that are many. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاهُمْ, then we resurrected them again. بَعَثْنَاهُمْ here as if they were dead, because in Islam when you go to sleep, we call this a minor death. Your soul leaves your body and goes to the heavens, to its Lord. And then only a thin, very thin string of that soul continues to be tied to the body. Imagine basically pulling something very, very, for a long way, basically a very thin string basically connects to the body. Every single one of us, when you go to sleep, just remember that your soul is almost left, 99% left your body. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, that last 1% will get detached and you'll die. Or if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, He'll send the soul back to re-emerge into or mix with the body. So over here, basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the term ba'athna, resurrected them, because sleeping for 8 hours is called minor death. They slept for 300 years. So that's pretty major sleep, and therefore, basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used this resurrection after this long period of ruqud, of sleep. لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا. So we know which of the two factions were more accurate in their estimates of how long they've stayed. Because when people came in, people started to guesstimate, like, okay, no, these people are from this era. No, these people from this era. No, it was that emperor's era. No, it was that emperor's era. So because it was a big event, because when these children basically left and they kind of disappeared, definitely it caused lots of ruckus in the city. I mean, you have 7 families. Every family has like lots of cousins and extended family. Cities were not millions of people that time. When we speak about 7 different families, we're speaking about really like a good portion of the city. If you take into account the friends and the families and the extended families and so forth, the Roman mayor was in trouble, that event stayed with people. That pain stayed with people. When a person, unfortunately, when a child gets kidnapped or whatever, and people don't know, in the case, the police case stays for, let's say, 10 years and 20 years, people get affected. The sadness of the parents doesn't go away, so it stays, and everybody in the surrounding of that city the whole town gets affected. And it's known. We've heard stories like that basically in our current day. So people continue to speak about these 7 youth that actually defied the emperor, defied the orders of the empire. 7 young people defied the orders of the emperor, the polytheistic emperor, and sacrificed their lives for their deen, for their beliefs. Notice they're young. They're like teenagers. Fitya, they're teenagers, youngsters, like probably your age, right? Max. But they that's it. When they believe in something, I'm not going to basically change that. How could you live when you basically throw your beliefs away? What's left from from your humanity? What's left from your humanity when you basically say, you lie to yourself and say, well, I don't need the facts. I can just live with lies and delusion. See what I'm saying? That's why many people today, elderly and youth, they feel vacuum. They feel they don't have a purpose. They're going in circles because they compromise. Sometimes following your desires goes in contradiction to your beliefs. So you're living in a contradiction. You're living in a contradiction. You're not supposed to be doing something, or you're supposed to be doing something, you're not doing it. But you still want to do it because it's fun. It's like, it's nice. I like to do that. I want to be accepted. I want to be with the crowd. I want to be with, peer pressure, right? We're here in the university atmosphere, so peer pressure is still there. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you speak, the way where you spend your nights, your days, with your friends, right? Everybody's like, worried about being judged, your image. What do people think of you? Are they going to respect you, or are they going to think of you as something low? It breaks a person. So there's that contradiction. But if your belief is hard, nothing can break you. Nothing can break a diamond. And but if you're glass, unfortunately, the pressure of the society will break you. And that's why it's very important to take a minute, maybe not a minute, take a night or two and sit with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Look in the mirror and say, who am I? What am I all about? What am I doing here? Am I lying to myself, about believing certain things because society wants me to believe it? Or am I going to have the courage to basically recapture my humanity, recapture the respect for myself, that no, this is what I believe in. This is what I believe life is all about. And I'm not going to let that go. It doesn't matter what happens. This is the example of these 7 Christian Muslim kids. A Christian Muslim. How is a Christian Muslim? Well, the real Christianity is Islam. What is Christianity except Islam? The original message of Jesus Christ is Islam. Every prophet that was sent to humanity, he just came with Islam. Doesn't matter what the name is, it's Islam. It's submitting to one God, because God exists, God created the worlds, and God is not going to send Moses and then Jesus and they're going to contradict themselves. See what I'm saying? Moses is not going to come to the people and say, yo, God didn't have a son. And like Jesus came, like, oh yeah, he had a son. That's just mess. That's just mess. That's called delusions. We need to learn from these Christian kids who stuck to their monotheistic beliefs against the polytheistic beliefs of the empire. What happened basically after 250? I mean, if people know the history of the Roman Empire, within decades after, that's when the whole Roman Empire had to become Christian. Due to people like these youngsters. 325. What happened to 325? Anybody knows? Yes. Yeah, Constantine the Great, basically. Not just the Eastern Roman Empire specifically, but in addition to that, in addition to building Constantinople and so forth and expanding the empire, he actually made the empire Christian, made Christianity the religion of the empire. And he became Christian, so-called. He wasn't. And he gathered all the bishops around the empire to create a new version of Christianity that fits the empire's original mandate or agenda, which is polytheistic. So the Roman Empire wasn't very happy with a monotheistic Christianity. But Christianity, because of its rigor and because it's a truth at that time, it spread throughout the whole empire. So the emperors and the leaders of the empire didn't have much ability to just do much except to accept Christianity as the dominant form of belief and way of life. But these people were sleazy. And Constantine the Great, not so great, really, from my perspective. He made a plan to try to modify Christianity so it fits with the empire's belief system. The empire belief system was polytheistic. Christianity, the original form of Christianity, was monotheistic. No son, no nothing, just God. And that's when basically they got all the bishops, all the bishops that were propped up by the empire, all the bishops that were, their salaries were paid by the empire or threatened by the empire, got them into one big council called the Council of Nicaea, or Nicene. And it's a city in southwestern Turkey, current day Turkey, which was part of the Roman Empire. Very close to Constantinople. Talking about Constantinople, yes, Constantinople. Sorry, what we're saying. And he pressured them to create for the first time the doctrine of the Trinity. Now, even basically then, they were not even talking about Trinity. They're only talking about basically Jesus being the Son of God. That's 325 CE. And it was not even, there was no agreement. That's where basically Arius, one of the bishops, defied that order by the emperor. He said, no, there is no, God is just one. Jesus is not Son of God. Jesus is not divine, period. But unfortunately, it was the minority. At the end of the day, the vote of the council came. The majority came with the agreement that Jesus is the Son of God, but it wasn't ratified yet. It took another, let's say, 100 years. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 450, for the doctrine of the Christian Roman Church to ratify the fact that Jesus was the Son of God. Imagine 400 years after Jesus Christ, alayhi salam, peace be upon him. And then the Holy Ghost came about after as a third addition in the same council for it to make the Trinity hundreds and hundreds of years after Christianity. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the truth is that Christianity believes in only one God. There's no, Jesus is not God. Jesus is not the Son of God. Jesus is not divine. Jesus is just a prophet, a human prophet. And that's why even in the Bible itself, when people go to Jesus and they ask him, if I'm not mistaken, there was a seaman or a fisherman, sorry, from northern Palestine, if I'm not mistaken, goes and asks him, because Jesus alayhi salam was going to leave that area. He says, look, Jesus, before you leave, can you tell us what is the message of God? What are you preaching? What is your one single message you're preaching? And he says basically his very famous statement, hear, O Israel, worship God and God is one. Worship God and God is one. This is the message of Jesus, the message of Muhammad, this is the message of Moses. This is the message of all prophets throughout all times. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke, because it was the story of the boys of the cave was a Christian story. He spoke to the what we call the Pauline Christians afterwards. And he says basically, وَيُنذِرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this Quran to warn those pseudo-Christians from saying that God has a son. It's an egregious lie. ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم. They have no proof, no proof whatsoever that Jesus is the Son of God, nor their forefathers. كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم. It's a big, ugly lie that comes out of their mouth. إن يقولون إلا كذبا. Indeed, all what they say is just lies and nothing but lies. So this is how the chapter starts. It's speaking to the believers of the time, because we were speaking about a time before Islam. There was some remnants of monotheistic real belief. The real Christian believers, the real Muslims. We call them Muslims. Who is a Muslim? A Muslim is one who believes in one single God and believes in the last prophet of the time. Doesn't matter what time it is. It's a Muslim. So these 9 Christians were Muslims. 7 young people were Christian. 7 young Christians were Muslim. To us, they're Muslim. Let's continue with the story. نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى. We narrate upon you the story of the boys in the cave that is true and factual. إنهم فتية. These are youngsters, teenagers, youngsters. آمنوا بربهم. They believed in their Lord, their one true Lord. وزدناهم هدى. And we actually blessed them with further. We bless them with further guidance. وربطنا على قلوبهم إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض لن ندعو من دونه إلها لقد قلنا إذا شططا. وربطنا على قلوبهم. We gave them the strength and the courage to confront the governor and the Roman emperors when they stood up and said that Allah, to us Allah, our Lord is one, and He is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and we will never call to anybody except Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will not be polytheistic in our beliefs. Otherwise we would basically be just liars, just like the Roman emperors. هؤلاء قوم اتخذوا من دونه آلهة. These are our people. They're speaking about their people, the city of Tartus in the Roman Empire. It's like our people have taken so many different idols to worship. لولا يأتون عليهم بسلطان بين. If they just would have used their minds to think if there's any whatsoever evidence for worshipping such idols and stones and so forth. فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. And who is worse or more oppressive than a person who makes up lies against Allah, the one and only. وَإِذْ اعْتَزَلْتُمُوهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ فأووا إلى الكهف ينشر لكم ربكم من رحمته ويهيئ لكم من أمركم مرفقا. This is the last verse for today, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you isolate yourself and you run away from your people, from this oppressive town, from this oppressive empire, and you leave the worship of anybody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so go find any cave and hide in that cave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make this small cave of yours something that seems as if it's a mansion, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow upon you from His mercy and will take care of you and will prepare for you a way out from these oppressive people, and will basically show you the way of being able to escape and be saved and be victorious against those oppressors. So we'll stop here, inshallah. We'll take maybe a question or two. If there is any, 6:59, we'll stop at 7 as usual. Any questions, inshallah, from the crowds? We only have 60 seconds. Any questions? Go ahead, Faria.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Let's say if we want to tell our Christian friend about how Christianity has been distorted by like Constantine and like Paul, like how
Yeah.
can we do that? How can we give dawah to them by explaining
Very
to
simple.
them the inaccuracy?
Very simple, very simple. There's not even a single verse in the whole Bible that speaks about Trinity in an explicit form. Not even a single line. Actually, if there's something explicit, was Jesus alayhi salam, may God's peace be upon him. He said the message that he's carrying from God is to worship God alone. Number two, the word Trinity was coined by a lawyer from Tunisia, or current day Tunisia, Carthage at that time, named Tertullian. He's the one who coined the term Trinity after around 300 years, around 280 CE to 300 CE. That's the first ever usage of the term Trinity. Imagine the term Trinity, the first usage of was 300 years after, or 250 years after, if we estimate Jesus alayhi salam being raised to his Lord at around 30 something, 33 or 35, whatever the number is. So these are very simple ways. Like if people want to understand that God doesn't have a son, God is an eternal entity. Doesn't give birth, doesn't have a mother, doesn't have a father. God is an eternal being, unlimited being. Is not divisible into two. It's not like a cell; it divides and so forth. God is unlimited and is one. It's unitary. There's no second to God. There's no son to God. There's no mother to God. There's no father to God. And the Quran came to basically reaffirm the original message of Jesus alayhi salam and the original message of Moses and all the messages of all prophets before.
Jazakallah khair.
وإياكم. طيب, may Allah bless you guys. We don't have much time anymore. And we'll see you inshallah ta'ala on Friday of this week. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah khair. Sallallahu ala rasulil kareem. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah, Sheikh, for that Tafseer Surah Kahf. Just to remind everyone, we'll be having Tarawih at the Hub at 5889 Coopers Avenue in Mississauga. So do show up if you're in the area. And another reminder, we do have our event coming up on Saturday, April 9th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. with 5 amazing speakers. Ustad Hamza Zortas, Sheikh Abdullah Mulani, Sheikh Allah Said, and many more. And do support us as well. If you haven't registered, do register now for the Ramadan event so you can be up to date. And click the link to donate because we are trying to make more events for you guys, for the community, to make it stronger, better. So do donate and help. And inshallah, it's the month of Ramadan, the month of giving. And may Allah increase you in your barakah and in accept your fast and ibadah in the month of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Take care.